blood on my face. So I hugged her and I was like, baby, I'm sorry. I said, I just kept telling her I'm sorry. I don't know, I have my suspicions. We've been married 5 years, been together 6 years. My wife, Sherry Judson. And I've always had my suspicions that she...
Ryan admits he was looking for evidence. This shows he wasn't just coming home. He was acting like a private investigator to control his wife's life.
He actually just left the house right before I showed up.
Did you see him or what?
No, I was trying to help him make it.
He says he wanted to catch him. This proves he was planning a confrontation, which makes his later claim of blacking out very hard to believe.
I said, I've been married to you. I've been with you for 6 years, married for 5. I said, you think I don't know when something's wrong? I said, I know something's wrong. I said, that's why I came home unannounced. And I said, I would have came in the middle of the night. I said, but I didn't think this morning would go the way it did. I figured if I would have came last night and actually caught them physically, that it would have went like that.
So, what do you think would have happened if you would have came up?
I don't know. That's the thing. I mean, when you actually know that the person that you love is sleeping with somebody else.
Yeah.
And then not only that, I mean, he's almost like family to them because his brother just married into the family 2 years ago. Yeah. So everywhere we go, he's there. They like him. I mean, he's a funny guy. We would hang around, so they invite him everywhere we go. It was just like 3 weeks ago when we were at her sister's house and he showed up and I got mad and kind of caused a ruckus with him, you know. It was like, you know, why are you showing up here? You know we're here. You know you're sleeping with, I know you're sleeping with my wife. It just kind of escalated and got worse, and then caught her again in January, and then I caught her 5 more times this year. It's just like, then I ended up breaking my hand, so I was home for 2 months in rehab, and as soon as I went back to work again,
How'd you break your hand?
That fell, and it just broke. I hit right on the knuckle. So then, like, as soon as I go back to work, come home, bam, catch her again with Snapchat, and we're going to delete it again, talking to him. I was like, evidently, I said, you have feelings for this guy. I said, if you want to be with him. And even all the last 3 days, you know, my messages, you can see it, even this morning, I was like, you definitely in love with this guy. I said, so won't you just go ahead and just fess up, be honest. I said, I'll go move my stuff out and we can just move on. And she was like, no, baby. She said, he treats me really good and you know, makes me feel great. I have a great time with him. He's funny and this and this. And I was like, but wasn't he just sleeping with your sister and they thought the baby was his? I said, so why are you sleeping with this guy? I said, this is the kind of guy that you want? I said, you know, and he just got out of prison like 4 years ago, and I was like, this is what you want. You know, I was like, you know what, if that's who you want, I said, you know what, I just want you to be happy. And like I said, it's in my text. I was like, if that's what you want, I just want you to be happy. I said, if I got to let you go, you know, for me to hurt for a while, I said, that's fine. I said, but you have to be honest for once. Stop lying. You have to be honest. I said, every time I bring it up, you jump down my throat. I said, which is the day giveaway. I said, but why not just get it over with? You know?
Ryan starts talking about the $20,000 he spent on land. He acts as if buying things for the family gave him the right to own Sherry's choices.
House out there. I said, now I'm pretty much flat broke, and you're not investing nothing into it. I said, so I'm showing you my love for you. I said, and then now her job cut back, so she wasn't hardly bringing in the money right now to pay her employees or anything. So I'm like, hey, well, we're a couple, we're married, you know, I'll pick up the slack, whatever. But I'm like, I said, it's just so frustrating because I'm actually pitting for it, you know. I said, but, like I said, if that's what you want, so be it. She's like, no, and she just asked me 8 months, just, no, baby, I want to be with you, I want to be with you. I was like, all right, I said, but if you want to be with me, then why do they keep catching you every 2 weeks? When I grab.
He describes grabbing her neck. In forensics, this is a huge warning sign. Someone who uses their hands to choke a partner is much more likely to eventually kill them.
And all of a sudden, she was like, baby, stop. And then I stopped, and she was like, please, we can move, whatever. And I just kind of blacked out after that. Just everything happened. So
right when the violence starts, he says he blacked out. This is a common story people tell when they don't want to admit they made a choice to be violent.
Around the neck, and then I don't know how many times I stabbed her.
Yeah, like once or more?
Multiple times, I don't know, because the whole time I was just like, baby, I'm sorry, I love you. I was like, I begged you. I just couldn't stop. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm just angry and upset about being hurt for so long.
I begged her. Like I said, you can see in my text, I begged her all the way up until yesterday. It's like, please, I said, I can see you in love. Morning, actually. And I was like, baby, please, I said, I can see you're in love with him. I said, just tell me the truth and let me go. Just let me go. She was like, no, you know, there's nobody. You know, when she called me, she was like, no. She said, I told you I want to be with you. Stop asking me about it. She was like, how can we move forward if we keep bringing it up? I said, well, how can I not bring it up if you keep doing it?
Yeah.
I said, it kind of works together.
Yeah, absolutely.
I said, you know, you tell me not to bring it up, and the day before you just talk to him.
Yeah.
how we're gonna move on from that? I said, you know, it takes time, you know. I said, dedication, you know, people actually doing right. I said, we have to be loyal, we have to be honest. I said, if we stand a chance, then we have to put forth effort together. It can't just be me. You're saying me.
Right.
I said, it has to be both of us. I said, if not, then just let me go.
Yeah.
You know, but she wouldn't let me go. She wouldn't ever just confess.
Yeah.
Until I seen the text that said everything.
Yeah. Were the scissors ever just sitting around, or did you bring them with you?
No. He says he used 5-inch scissors because scissors aren't a typical weapon. Using them to kill someone takes a lot of time and physical effort. It wasn't fast like he claims.
Which hand?
4 or 5 inches.
Do you remember which hand the scissors were in?
Right
hand. Were you holding her down, or just on top of her, or how did she stay down?
Yeah, I was just kind of holding her down with my left hand.
So you grabbed onto her, and did you force her to the ground, or like when did you start to?
No, she just kind of fell back.
Okay. What do you know? What made you stop stabbing her? The scissors?
I was just sitting there thinking. I was like, I don't know. I was just thinking like, this is the woman I love. You know, like I was like, I love this. And I was like sitting there, and I started hugging her. And when I went into the bathroom, I had the blood.
He says he kissed and hugged her after stabbing her. This is pseudo-remorse. He is trying to convince himself he is still a loving husband even after committing a crime.
Leave me or tell me, you know. I was like, I beg you. I was like, I'm so sorry. I just love you so much.
Was she moving at all at that point, or was she?
She was, and she was just like, baby, stop. And I stopped, and she was like, I'm already dying. She was like, stop, please. I was like, baby, I'm sorry. I just started hugging her and kissing her. I was like, I'm sorry, baby. And I just kept kissing her and hugging her, hitting my face up against her. I was like, I don't know what to do now. I was like, went way beyond the point of return. I was like, I don't know what to do. And I was like, baby, I don't know what to do. I was like, I'm so sorry. I was like, why can't you just be honest? Why can't you just tell me? Let me go. And that's all I remember.
What did you do afterwards? Or I guess, so you were talking to her and apologizing to her. What did you do after?
After that, I went in the bathroom, washed up.
Instead of calling for an ambulance, he takes a shower. This shows his first thought was to wash the blood off himself, not to save her life.
Let them know that I was sorry for what I've just done, and I apologize. You know, I've never done anything like that. And I was like, it was just too much to bear. I just kind of panicked, didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
And then I was just thinking to myself, I was like, you know, what do you do? What did you do? I was like, I think her son's in the room, and I was like, I can't have him walking here.
Yeah.
See his mom. I was like, he'll be traumatized for life, which he is anyway, but it would have been even worse.
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't know what to do, so then I left. Well, I kind of.
He puts a blanket over her. He says it's for the kids, but it's also a way for him to hide the mess he made so he doesn't have to look at it.
She was the one that called the ambulance and everything. She called me, and I was like, baby, I'm sorry. I said, I don't know what happened. I said, I just blacked out. She's like, what did you do, Dad? What did you do? I was like, I'm sorry. She's like, well, what did you do? And I told her, and she's like, no, you didn't. I was like,
what did you tell her?
I just told her. I said, I think I killed her. I said, she's like, are you sure? I said, I don't know. I said, I just blacked out. I said, but I think I did.
Yeah.
And she was like, I'm gonna call the ambulance and everybody. I said, okay. I said, well, I don't know what to do. I said, I just wanted to call y'all and tell y'all I'm sorry. And that's all I did. I just called everybody, you know, my kids, my mom and sister, and told them I was sorry for what I did.
So when you kept walking back to her, did you ever try to life-saving measures?
I kept checking. I kept feeling her chest. I put my head up to her chest. That's why I had all the blood on me from laying on her head. And I kept trying to hear for a heartbeat and everything. And put my head, trying to feel, and it felt like I could still feel the heartbeat and everything. So I called my daughter, and it faded. And I kept going back to check on her. Figured she was gone.
Was that when you called your daughter around 10 or so? Was that different?
Around, I don't know what time.
Whenever you called her, that's when.
Yeah, that's when I told her.
Okay.
And she was like, "Where's she at?" And I told her where she was at.
Yeah. So then after that, did you take a shower? You said you took a shower?
To get the blood off.
Did you do that before or after you called your daughter?
Before.
Okay.
Because I was shaking.
Yeah. Did you go to the sink and wash your hands or anything?
No, I went in the shower. I looked at myself and I had blood on me, and I was like,
sure.
I didn't want to see what I just did.
Yeah.
That's honestly, that's the main reason. Dad and I didn't want to walk out and her son see me. My main thing, like at that, I done crossed the line to where I was like, I didn't want him to see any of that or nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like I said, this is a hurdle for life, but I think that would have been really traumatizing.
Yeah, absolutely.
To see your parent or something like that.
When you left, did you drop the door open?
I left it unlocked. I should have left it unlocked.
Okay.
I left it unlocked so everybody can get in.
That's fair. Did you check on the kids or just? You didn't?
I was scared to check on them. I kind of put my ear up to it, and I was like...
To the kids' door?
Yeah, and I was like, alright, they're still asleep.
Mm-hmm.
So I just kind of quietly went out, kept talking to my daughter. I was like, I don't know what to do. I was like, I'm sorry, I don't know.
Yeah.
And she would just tell me, Dad, what did you do? She's like, I'm gonna call. I was like, alright. I was like, I don't know what to do. I can't think. I was like, I don't know. I don't know what to do. I was like, it don't feel real. It just didn't feel real. Even when I hugged her and kissed her, I didn't even feel like that happened. It just didn't feel real.
Yeah.
That's why I kept hugging her and kissing her. It just didn't, I don't know. It didn't feel like I just did something, so...
How come we never, because, you talked about filming pulse, how come you didn't call, 911, like, hey,
I was just in shock. I was like, is it fading or is it not? I'm shaking. I was like, do I feel it? Do I not feel it? And I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
And all I could think about was call my daughter because, she's my oldest, and I'll call her. We talk all the time.
He calls his daughter because she's a nurse. He is trying to make someone else responsible for the medical emergency he caused.
I can't even think of the number 911. It just never crossed my mind. The only thing that crossed my mind was call my daughter. That's all I could think about. Because the whole family, like my dad, my brothers, we all lean towards her for everything.
Yeah. She seems like she's pretty, pretty smart girl.
Yeah, she got a 4-year degree.
She is, and we were talking about some stuff outside of it.
She is.
After you felt her and you felt like the pulse had left, is that when you went and got in the shower?
And then I got up and I was like, this can't be real. And I went back and it's kind of just blacked out. I just know I kept going back, checking her or whatever. And I'm just like, I'm sorry. I just kept kissing her, holding her.
Was she moving at that point or just kind of limp? Or?
No, she wasn't moving.
Was she saying anything at that point either?
No.
How long or how much time do you think had passed since the stabbing and you in the shower? How long were you there with her before you got in the shower?
Not very long. Like the time that it actually started.
Yes, sir.
It's hard to tell by time. Sometimes when you feel like something lasts for 30 minutes, it can actually last like 2 or 3. I really don't know.
What time do you think you got to the house? Do you just remember looking at a clock or just what?
After his confession was played in court, the jury rejected his blackout excuse. In December 2021, Brian Judson Sr. was found guilty of first-degree murder. He was sentenced to life in prison without the chance of parole.
I would have left last night, and I would have actually caught them sleeping together in bed. Yeah. And I figured maybe if I waited, and I wasn't even mad when I got there,
The irony of Brian's life is that he was obsessed with watching his wife, tracking her messages, and timing her commutes. Because he couldn't stop trying to control her, he will now spend the rest of his life in a cell where he is the one being watched 24/7 by prison guards.